quite a gloomy October day, so I thought, what better time to make a little spooky season writing chat, author video, I don't know what to call this, book. This isn't a book. That's the one thing I definitely can't call it. We'll probably talk about books at some point. I tried to find some spooky earrings so I could be like on theme for today, but I don't really have many spooky earrings. However, it is October in Australia, which means the scariest thing you're going to find around here is the old magpie. Spooky season, more like swoopy season. I was going to film like a publishing vlog of, you know, I guess uploading Trouble in Store to 5 different websites, and then I started filming it and I was like, wow, this is mind-numbingly boring. So I'm not going to share that with you. You're welcome. Also, so many things went wrong while I was doing it and it was still boring. I mean, that's kind of impressive. Apple glitched and Nook made me upload a form that they then said means I now have to wait 15 business days until I can upload a book, which makes it exactly the publication day of this book, October 25th. Trouble in Store is the book I'm talking about. Do you mind? Alexi's iPad is sitting next to me, and unlike me, he responds to messages quite quickly. He's, you know, a good person to talk to, etc. So people message him constantly. And I wish they would just calm it down a little bit. You know, I'm trying to film a video, actually. So could you stop being friends with Alexi? We got a notice saying that our water was supposed to be turned off today between, I think, 10 and 2, like during the middle of the day. So I filled up like saucepans and, you know, containers with water. And then they seem to have not turned off the water. So now I just have lots of water receptacles sitting on the bench in the kitchen. Like a fool. I guess I just didn't expect the council to prank me. I have a book coming out in like 2.5 weeks. Maybe I'll tell you about that. It's called Trouble in Store. It's number 13 in the Charlie Davies mysteries. 13, very spooky number. It has, I think, 6 mentions of pumpkin in it. So, I mean, that's very October themed. It's not paranormal, but I think it's got the right vibes to be read this month. I mean, I guess any book could be read any month, really, but you know what I'm trying to say. Can you not be pedantic, please? So it's book 13 in a series. I do not recommend you read it if you haven't read the rest of the series. However, book 1 is called Losing Your Head. It's free on all the different ebook retailers. I will link it below. It's about an amateur sleuth who makes a bet with her nemesis that she can find out who killed his uncle and basically get him out of trouble. It's a comedy, easy read, great time. You should definitely read it if you're into, I don't know, fun. Are you into fun? Sorry, I don't mean to be so aggressive, but sometimes it overtakes me. Losing Your Head, book 1 in the Charlie Davies series. It's also a good Halloween read, in my opinion. It has a lot of decapitation. Spooky. Cutting the heads off billionaires. I mean, who doesn't love that? I'll talk about book 13 in the series, but I will keep it spoiler free so that if you haven't read the series, you can watch the rest of this video. So the series, Charlie Davies Mysteries, is about an amateur sleuth who falls into solving mysteries the same way she falls into everything else. She's very clumsy. By book 13, she is a private investigator and, in fact, no longer the worst private investigator at the company. Yes, well done, Charlie. I mean, maybe I'll just read you the blurb. It's also, that's this cover behind me. That's the cover for book 13. I drew that picture. Are you impressed? Like, with my hands. Obviously, not with my mouth. I meant like I didn't use AI. I drew that. I learned to draw so I could do my own covers. You may disagree that I have learned to draw if you look too closely at the picture, but you know what? I don't want to hear your negativity, okay? I like it. And that's all that needs to be. I don't know how I was thinking I'd end that sentence. Here is the blurb for Trouble in Store. Work undercover at an oh my god, I have had such a hard time saying an electronics store. If I get to a point where I pronounce it like that, you know why. Work undercover at an electronics store. Okay, I'll try again. I'm so sorry. Work undercover at an electronics store. This is some of the worst reading I have done since primary school. Even then, I think I was probably better than this. Work undercover at an electronics store? That's a hard sell. And I thought it was going to be a good week. When my least competent co-worker messes up his first investigation, I get sent in to clean up the mess. This case is a horror show. Dead bodies, missing women, customer service. Basically, a waking nightmare. And if working undercover in retail isn't enough, my terrifying biker grandmother is in town, and it seems like she has plans for me. My work nemesis has decided to move himself and his disgusting pet into my spare room. And I'm pretty sure my boss Harry knows about a certain relationship that he really shouldn't if I want to keep my job. Then again, undercover in retail? Maybe getting fired wouldn't be so bad after all. So there's the blurb. I did mess it up a little bit, but you'll never pick up what word I left out. I don't know why you would be bothered to do that. I have the word horror in the blurb, so you know that it's Halloween appropriate. I don't know why I'm trying so hard to convince you that it's a Halloween book. I think it's because I didn't intend it to be, but it's just sort of worked out that it's coming out this month. Oh my goodness, people are messaging Alexi again. Why does everyone like him so much? I think it's like accidentally very Halloween-y. What have we got? We've got a pet rat. Rats, spooky. A trip to the morgue. A haunted museum exhibit. Dinosaur skeletons. Very bloody, gory murders. People going missing. The introduction of a terrifying, horrifying monster of a character. Charlie's grandmother. You knew that was coming. She's been mentioned earlier in the series, but this is her first time actually appearing on page. I was like, on stage, no. On screen, no. On page, yes. And it features the biggest horror of all, working in retail. I'm very excited to start talking about my vampire book on here. I think that's probably going to be the majority of my videos going forward, will be me talking about my vampire book, or perhaps my witchy book. That's the Nessa book, the new version of the Nessa series. For anyone who's familiar with my out-of-print books. I mean, I'm calling it a witchy book, but it's more of a necromancy book, but it is still quite witchy. The problem is I'm so excited for the vampire book and for the Nessa necromancer book. It's what a struggle. But I think before I work more on those, I've done quite a lot of work on both of them. I'll do a catch up on that at some point, like a proper dedicated video. But before I do more work on those, I think I need to read lots of books, because basically, like, what I've found is that if I don't read, I find it very hard to write. But like, to the point that reading a book means I can write 3 chapters. Like, it's not that's not the maths, but it's like that kind of thing. It's like putting petrol in a car. So I do need to do some reading. If ever I get stuck, usually it's just that I need to read some books, and that will make writing easy and flow again, which is an excellent thing to know. But also I still try and like grind through when I run out of ideas. Sometimes I'm like, no, I can't stop and read. I couldn't possibly, even though that will be the fastest way to finish the book. But that's kind of a hard thing to get through your head when you have a skull as thick as a Tarbosaurus's. That is a joke from the unpublished book behind me that will be really funny on October 25 once you've read that book. You know, if you haven't started the series, you got like 2.5 weeks. You could start now and read this on release day. I don't know. I think it's worth trying. I think I might end up doing some reading vlogs. I don't know if you're interested in maybe some Halloween-y, urban fantasy, indie author books. Also traditionally published, you know, but I feel like you see the traditionally published ones everywhere. You don't always see the indie books. So if I find some good ones, I'd like to tell you about them. So I might do a Halloween-y. It's It's a fun word to say. I might do a video of book recommendations or books I want to read. We'll see how that goes. I have a lot of vampire books I want to read this month, you know, get in the spirit, get ready to write my vampire book. I also have a lot of, you know, witchy necromancery books and just like general fantasy and dark academia, but the paranormal kind where there's people being murdered at schools. I like that. I don't know why. That's quite a specific thing to be into, but I guess it's a big genre. Lots of people are into it. I think I'll do a writing vlog or some sort of video soon about brainstorming, whichever fantasy series I end up doing. Maybe I'll do one about brainstorming each of them, and then at the end I'll know which one I have better ideas for or which one feels more done. I'm very excited for both of them. So it's a tough decision, but also it's just like, it's fine. I'll just decide one of them and that will be the one. So I think I'm going to be reading a lot of spooky books this month, which is exciting. And maybe I'll do a little Halloween books I recommend or books on my list. I have a very long list of Halloween books because I am such a mood reader. I've got like a list of like 30 books and I'll just pick and choose off that what I'm vibing with on a given day. To close us out, maybe I will read a little excerpt from Trouble in Store. I'll keep it so that you can, you know, listen to this even if you haven't read the series. Here's a little excerpt from Trouble in Store. It's from a chapter called Goosebumps. "Granny," I croaked, "what are you doing here?" "I came to see you, of course." The blood drained from my, well, everything. No idea where it went, but suddenly I was blood-free and freezing cold. Me? What did I do to deserve this?" "What do you mean by that?" "Where are the others? You didn't kill—" I rethought my tactics. Didn't want to get her offside. "What happened? Do you need an alibi?" "William met me at the door when I arrived. Apparently your housemates were all due to go see a movie at exactly the time I got here." Clearly a lie. Nice of them to warn me. Then again, maybe I just hadn't heard my phone over the impromptu rock concert I'd performed in the car. I couldn't help it. From the first notes of my playlist, I had to start screeching along. I was powerless to resist the call of the saxophone. "So he let you in and you decided to wait in the dark for me to get back?" "I wouldn't say he exactly let me in, but I found my way inside." "So she'd broken in." I shivered, more from the cold than Granny's presence, but it was a 51-49% kind of thing. "Why didn't you put the heater on?" "The heater? With these electricity prices?" She shook her head, disgust dripping from every pore. "Young people." "Is that why you kept the lights off too? To keep my bill down?" "No, I just did that to be scary." "What do you think?" 10 out of 10. I'd be having nightmares about Granny popping out of the darkness for the next 3 decades at least. "Am I allowed to put the heater on since I pay for the electricity here?" "No. Go find a cardigan and stop being such a baby." Against every instinct, I kept my eyes from rolling and retreated to my bedroom. Granny had issued an order. You could ignore her or you could live. I chose life. I got weirdly puffed during that. I don't know if it's just because I don't know when to breathe when I'm reading or if I'm like nervous to read it out. I think we'll call it a day on this video. Thank you for coming along on this journey. I guess it's kind of been an all about my book. It's very nice talking to you. Great to see you. Thank you for coming back. It was very nice that I got some comments and some people actually watching my last video. I didn't know for certain if anyone would. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. What do people always say? Leave a pumpkin emoji. I mean, you can do that if you like, or you can just tell me what you'll be reading this month if you're reading stuff to get in the Halloween spirit. And I'll link the pre-order for Trouble in Store below, of course, and also the free book one, Losing Your Head. I will make sure I link below as well. Okay, well, thank you for being here. I hope this video was entertaining. I'll get back to reading. Nothing too strenuous. Don't feel too sorry for me,